The roots of Africa's fragmentation trace back to 1884, when European powers at the Berlin Conference carved the continent into artificial territories without regard for ethnic or cultural boundaries. These arbitrary borders split unified communities and forced rival groups into shared states. The colonial divide and rule policy further deepened divisions by favoring certain ethnicities, creating administrative systems designed for extraction rather than unity. This intentional fragmentation became the tragic blueprint for post-colonial governance. When African nations gained independence in the mid-20th century, they inherited these fractured colonial structures. New leaders maintained centralized power systems mirroring their former rulers, rather than building inclusive institutions. Despite Pan-African ideals like Nkrumah's vision of a United States of Africa, practical governance often reinforced ethnic favoritism. The Organization of African Unity's strict non-interference policy allowed these divisions to fester, turning colonial administrative units into battlegrounds for political control. During the Cold War, Africa's fragmentation became a strategic tool for global powers. The US and USSR armed opposing factions in countries like Angola and Ethiopia, turning local conflicts into prolonged civil wars. Resource extraction networks reinforced these divisions, with warlords controlling diamond and oil enclaves. The continent became a chessboard for foreign interests, as shown in Mozambique, where Renamo and Frelimo became proxies for East and West. This era cemented the weaponization of colonial-era divisions. The 1980s-90s brought structural adjustment programs, SAPs, that fragmented African economies. IMF World Bank policies forced cuts to cross-border infrastructure while prioritizing export corridors to global markets. This created enclave economies where mining and oil zones thrived while interior regions decayed. Intra-African trade stagnated at just 18%, compared to 59% in Asia, as colonial transportation networks designed for extraction remained unchanged. Economic fragmentation mirrored and reinforced the political divisions of earlier decades. The 2018 African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, represents the most serious attempt to overcome centuries of fragmentation. By removing tariffs on 90% of goods, it could boost intra-African trade by 52%. However, challenges persist. Colonial-era infrastructure still favors external over regional trade, and non-tariff barriers remain. Digital Pan-African movements and youth-led initiatives are creating new networks that ignore old borders. The question remains whether Africa can transform from a continent fragmented by outsiders to one united by its own people.